All right, so thanks for the opportunity of being here today. Um, very interesting, I'd say a very interesting talk that I got requested to do. And I've given some parts of these talk to my team actually, and I talk to my team about this frequently. And like Gail said, we have, my team is a team of 35 people. So we have 35 nutritionists, and I give them the tech support on top of feeding my cows. It's a great team, but we always have to learn, and I'm always training them on these aspects of feeding cows, right? So here's where I'm going to start. Okay, we're in a college, we're in university setting, so I'm going to show you that 1 + 1 = 3, or that 2 + 1 = 21. Do you agree with that right now? You're like, come on, man, do you know math? What are you doing here? You have a PhD and you can't do this? Okay, that's fine. Let's work through this, okay? Let's work through this together, all right? I'm gonna talk about synergy. That's what I wanna talk about today, is the synergy between you, your team, your consulting team, okay? So we'll talk about the my way, the your way, the no way, or the our way, okay? So when you look at a tree system like this, a root system like this, okay? There are two trees there, but you see that strong root system? Do you think those two trees, when they sum 1 + 1 and they have those roots together, do you think they're stronger than they would be if those trees were separated and those roots were actually separated from each other, versus now where those roots are pretty much together combined against a big storm? What do you think? I think they're going to be stronger when they're together like that, right? Same thing when we talk about rumen microbe population. This is just an infographic showing the average microbial population of a rumen, right? Do they work separately? Do these microbes work separately? No, they have to work together. They have to have this synergy, work together for a common goal, which is their nutrition and to make their hosts survive so they can survive as well, right? So this is where I'm going with this talk. So between nutritionists and other consultants, and again, this is a talk I give to my team, so I'm going to emphasize it a little bit on the nutrition side and how to be, instead of a nutritionist, a consultant for a farm, okay? So is a nutritionist supposed to be just a nutrition guy, or is he supposed to be the consultant? So some of you have seen this movie before, right? Or read this book. I hope you've read the book before, okay? And here's what I'm thinking when I see this picture is, there's the farmer. If you know the story behind this, that's Gondor, right? That's the farmer. And here's the farm nutritionist. Now, what does the farm nutritionist think they have? They think they're the owner there. They think they're the king, but they're not the righteous king. They're not the owner. They're just the other guy that works with them, okay? What else? What is he fighting against? What is he looking at in that crowd? He's looking at the veterinarian that's coming for him and saying, hey, your diet is wrong. You got to fix this. Who else? He's looking at the agronomist that's recommending one type of plant, but you're not following that recommendation. You say, I need this type of corn. I don't want your variety of corn. The agronomist say, where are you going? Why are you doing this? Okay? Who else? The repro company. The nutritionist is always saying, hey, reproduction is failing. Talk to the repro guys. They're doing it wrong. Or are they? Okay? Who else? The lander and the bank. That one, those are the trolls for sure. Those are the big ones. Okay? Because those guys are going to come at you and make sure that your wishes as a nutritionist doesn't come through. Okay? So this is what we're looking for. And we're going to change this mentality by the end of this talk. Okay? So there you are. Right? So what's the role of each consultant? Is it to show off and say, hey, I have the best farm out there, but in truth, it's just superficial? Or is it to actually have the best farm out there? You don't need to show it off. You just need to know yourself that you're doing what's best for your producer, right? So what's your role? To make sure that the farm you're working with is profitable and sustainable. And by sustainable, I mean that you have to make sure this farm is going to be there for the next 200 years because that's what they want. And that's what we need, right? Until we figure out a way to eat paper, it's not going to work. We got to eat food, okay? To be in the team and think win-win, okay? And forget about that win-lose situation, the lose-win and the win. Do you know what the difference is between those? Very simple. Win-win, both sides are winning. Win-lose, I'm the nutrition consultant. I say, I want to win. I don't care if the veterinarian loses. I don't care if the repro team loses. I don't care if the agronomist loses. As long as I'm here and I'm winning, I'm good. Forget about that idea. Lose-win is when the nutritionist takes the blame for everything as well and say, this is my fault. I got to fix this. But at some point, it's not going to be his fault, okay? So what I tell my team is, 1, avoid micromanaging, okay? That's very important. 2, give responsibility to the person that's mostly competent in that specific task to run that task. Forget about taking responsibility for everything because you're just going to micromanage and get lost in the situation and run into a win-lose situation, okay? So how do you make this work? This is a talk, this is based on a book, it's a course I took based on a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I highly recommend you reading that, or at least listening to this book, that talks about the synergy and what's the difference between the path to conflict versus the path to synergy, okay? So what's the path to conflict? You reject or tolerate differences, okay? So you say, we're different, we're thinking differently, but you know what? I'm gonna get over that, not think about it, and keep doing my job, keep going, okay? That's the one part. The other thing about this is that you don't have a clear end in mind. You haven't thought about, okay, what's my end goal here? What's my end goal at the farm to make it profitable and sustainable, right? But what am I gonna visualize? I'm gonna visualize my cows making 10 more pounds of milk. I'm gonna visualize them having better intake, right? I'm gonna visualize that. And of course, that discussion of my way and your way is not gonna lead you to anywhere, okay? So we have hostility. That means that 1 + 1 is -1. We have defensiveness. 1 + 1 is half, okay? And we have that compromise where we actually say, I'm gonna compromise. That's still not synergy. Synergy means we value the differences between all the people that are working together at this farm, okay? We clarify between the team what's the end goal we have with the whole team, and that needs to be a conversation between everybody. And you have to first seek to understand and then to be understood, okay? You can't just get to a farm and give all the answers. You have to actually sit down, think, how do I understand? What do I need to understand here before we even move forward and talk about what the farm needs? And that's where you explore your alternatives. And in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book, they throw this very, very interesting topic, which is called a third alternative. And I really like that. You've thought about all your alternatives, but you have to think about that third alternative where, okay, if we think outside of the box, we take a step back, what is actually there and available for us, okay? So let's go forward. How do you make this work? You understand first. You have to be reassured the issue, say over, evaluate the issue. And the problem must come from your customer, not from you. And I tell this to my team all the time because my team wants to get into a farm and tell the producer what their problem is. And I'm like, you're just telling them what their problem is without them telling you what it actually is. So you're just creating more problems for yourself. I'm sorry, that's not a good deal, okay? So the intent is to understand, not reply. Build trust, not a sense of superiority. Don't try to compete with other people. That's not going to take you anywhere, okay? Listen more. The farmer usually will give you the answer to his questions, usually, as long as you listen and try to dig that from them. They live there. They're going to always know what the answer is. They just don't want to apply it. That's another story. You have to work on that application, but they probably usually know the answer to their problem, okay? So work on the reply. Make sure, first of all, it's not a nutrition issue. If it is, take responsibility and fix it. Fix it right away. Find the root, use data. Do you need to send some samples for analysis? Do you need to reach out to other team members? And now I'm starting to talk about that team here, right? Is there a recommendation you can both give? Can you let them give the recommendation? Can you let the other team members give the recommendation instead of yourself? Can you let them take that advantage? Okay? And you do not need to have an answer. And every time you go to the farm, you do not need to have an answer. You know what stresses me out mostly? Most of the time when I'm at is when an email comes from a farmer or a text and you have a team and someone in the team responds in 2 minutes and gives the answer in 2 minutes. And I don't know, driving, doing some work, working on a ration, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna block myself some time to actually think about this problem instead of answering. No, those 2-minute answers are the worst because they don't have any good answer. They're just not well thought of. So whenever you get an email from a producer, think first, then answer, please, right? So how do we synergize? I'm just gonna give you examples, practical examples that I go through in my farms, okay? This is one, it's a selenium example. The owner of one of my herds calls. I've had 2 calves with white muscle disease. Fix the selenium. Ouch, right? That's a legal problem. He can go to court on this. It's selenium, okay? I could say, selenium is fine. The problem is the feed, intakes, the heat. I could say that, right? Then I'll get fired. Then I'm out. Or I can say, let's work with the veterinarian on this, okay? Sample feeds analyzed for selenium, research the causes of deficiency, find out if anyone has diagnosed it. Is it really white muscle disease? So I look at my diet, look at my selenium, 0.34 ppms, a little higher than it should be. That's fine. It's a little higher. I'm good. I'm safe, right? I know the absorption is not perfect, so I'm safe. So I grab a feed sample, I grab a grain sample, send it in for analysis. It's not cheap. I think this is $40 each. Send it to this laboratory. You can't see that there, but it shows me a 1.6 ppm in this grain mix, which as it gets diluted in the diet, perfect 0.34. Okay. So then I call the mill. I will call that mill. Did you guys forget to add selenium to my mix, right? Or have you forgetting to do it? This is their sheet. There's their batch that they just sent me and said, no, this is what we just ran. So there is selenium in there. Sounds good. So what can I say? Great, not my problem. Peace out. I could do that, right? I mean, my nutrition is right. Cows were hot. They didn't eat. That's what caused that. Selenium takes a while for it to actually cause deficiency. Just give a micro mineral injection. Just give all the animals some micro mineral injection, some selenium. They're going to be fine. They're going to respond quickly. Get the veterinarian involved. I'm good. I'll see you later. Let me know when the vet comes. I'll get fired, right? I'll get out of that farm quickly. Or what can I do? I can call the vet, talk about heat intakes, explain to the veterinarian what we're seeing. What other minerals can cause selenium deficiency? I did some digging and thought, okay, what did I find that could have caused? Am I actually overfeeding some micromineral that's causing selenium deficiency? Is the water full of iron and manganese that could actually contribute to that blockage of selenium? Dear veterinarian, did you diagnose white muscle disease? No, I just gave 2 shots of selenium, like a shot of selenium, and the animals responded. Oh, okay. So you actually didn't see, white muscle disease, which is a really bad thing. Okay, so start working in cooperation. Let's clean those fans. Let's make sure that they have enough fans there. Reduce overcrowding on those fans. Make sure the diet is palatable, because it could just be that they're not eating because the There's too much anionic salts in there, right? What else is going on when we're not there as well? So this is what we're currently doing. This is a really recent process. We're currently working on that, and we haven't seen any more selenium problems with calves, but it's still an investigation in process, and the veterinarian and I are working together, which is a really good thing, right? So the last part here, what else is going on when we're not there, is when we bring in cameras. I really like cameras as a tool. I have two with my car all the time, and when I'm using one in a farm, I'm always thinking about it like, I gotta grab it and take it to another farm and keep using them because I wanna keep using these cameras, okay? Helps you understand how the cows look in the middle of the night when nobody is there, right? Why do my model, this helps me understand why my model shows 90 pounds of milk that I potentially can make, but the cows are only make 75 pounds. Why is that? There's something about that. What's the cost associated with poorly managed bunkers? Can we calculate that using cameras? I'll show you how. What's the cost associated with high stocking density? Okay, practical example. This is my farm number 1, okay? What is it? 1,400 cows, 78 pounds average, 4% fat, 3.2 protein in the middle of the summer, somatic cell count 400,000. Middle of the summer, this is in June, July. Pens are overstocked at 150%. This is a problem because they have other consultants that come to this farm and recommend them, instead of milk per cow, they recommend a milk per stall idea. Very dangerous situation to recommend a milk per stall. So cows are overstocked, right? Complains that cows are not producing to their potential. Could be. What are the highest opportunities here then? Somatic cell count, 400,000. Can we take that down? 2, why are cows not milking to their potential? I had to put cameras up and try to understand this better. This is their pan of first lactation cows, high cows, breeding. So they stay in this pan from 0 to 120 to 150 days in milk. Can you see that pen? Would you be comfortable walking in that pen? And I'll tell you right now, I walk this pen regularly. I have a coverall, I have a jacket, and I have a hat when I walk because I get out of there and I'm just like covered in manure, right? Why? It's very, very busy in there, okay? So, farm 1, this same farm, right? Put the camera up and let's take a look at it. First lactation group is sent to the parlor, okay? When they return, I don't see any new feed or pushed up feed in the bunk. So what do? They drink water and go lay down as soon as they come back from the parlor. And you can tell here, they're coming back and the cows are already laying down, of course, finding the best stalls at the end, right? Because they're not going to be bothered when the other cows are coming in. So that's what they do, okay? All right, Sunday. Sunday's here, cows are coming back, and there's a nice picture I can clearly see here. The feed is there, but the cows just can't reach. They go there, they can't reach that feed. Drink water, go lay down. Okay? Here it is. Here it is, another time frame of that. As the barn is crowded, these cows are competing for rest time. They're actually not resting really well. You can see a lot of cows standing and walking back and forth of this pen trying to find a stall, and they can't find a stall, right? So one thing that we looked a lot in this farm is that they have a lot of hoof issues and a lot of broken legs. Could that be related? Okay, here it is again. So this farm is just giving me anxiety just by looking at this pen. And every time I walk this pen, it's a process, okay? So we notice cows are overstocked, uncomfortable, but they're laying down. They're actually laying down. So is there any bedding for them to lay down? And I've been looking at a lot of hock issues, no hair around these cows. Yes, they do. Every 2 days, they put bedding down. So they don't have too much bedding. It's kind of hard to see here, but it's like bare. You walk there, it's just the rubber mat there. Just a little bit of bedding, okay? So let's talk about somatic cell count. That's the biggest opportunity. We saw that the cows may have a problem because they're just gonna go from the parlor, drink water, and lay down instead of actually eating feed. so it doesn't give them the time for their teeth to close, okay? Let's talk about it. 2019 study. Almost 1,000 cows, 700 multiparous, 460 primiparas. They separated the cows between 50,000 somatic cell count, which they considered a healthy cow, versus 500,000 somatic cow, which they considered the infected udder, okay? And they found that right here, between the healthy cows and the infected primiparas and multiparas, primiparas are open circles, multiparas are closed circles, they found that during a 305 milk production time frame, right? That's their lactation. During their lactation, primiparas are going to lose 1.9% milk, multiparas are going to lose 5.2% milk. Very interesting study in comparison. So it's very simple, very well done, okay? Here are the numbers if you want to take a quicker look at what the numbers were actually like by week of lactation of that loss, right? So, quick math. Let's do a quick math here. Back of the napkin. Sit in the bulk tank and do the math to the producer, right? They have 42% primiparous cows, and this is their production, 20,200 pounds, okay? Loss of 1.9% means 380 pounds per cow. So 384 pounds per cow times 42% of the herd times $18 per hundredweight of milk. That's how much they're losing, $40,000 per year on this herd just because of high somatic cell count. I'm estimating this, right? What about multiparas? 58% of the herd, even more. Their milk 305 is 26,000 pounds. So you do the same math with a loss of 5.2%, that shows almost $200,000 of loss per year on this. What could they buy with $240,000 that year? And this is not, let's put this in another way. It's not loss, it's lack of revenue. They're just missing out on that revenue, right? So they're missing out on $240,000, which they could just be, I don't know, upgrading their batting system with that money, making a better batting situation, right? Build another barn, which they have the space and they could do in their area, build another area for more cows because they're overcrowded. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with that money. So what about feed? As we watched the video, this pen had no feed at the end, but had a lot of feed in the middle, okay? So cows were looking for feed in that area, but because the pen is just overstocked, so they would come here, look at this cow, this cow, this cow. They look for feed, they come in and out, in and out, in and out, but the feed is all here. That's okay if when they push up feed, they actually bring that feed this way, and they're trying to actually keep it clean. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Let's keep looking at the video though, okay? I look at the video. This is on a Friday to Saturday, so Saturday morning at 2:30 in the morning, and I look at this pan and there is no feed here. It is empty. There's a little bit of feed here, no feed. 2:30 in the morning. I'm thinking, that's early. That's really early. They don't feed these cows until mid-morning. Then I look at it again at 8:30 in the morning when the cows go to the parlor. How much time between 2 and 8? 6 hours. No feed. No feed. Just come on, right? So 6 hours without feed. So let's talk about cow behavior when we talk about this, and this is what I'm going to present to the farm and to their team, to our team as well, right? How many times cows eat per day? So this is the research done in 2018. Okay, they measured when cows would eat during the day. It's a 3-time milking system. They also compared low to high efficiency cows. So high efficiency are dark, low efficiency are these dots. Okay, low and mid efficiency. And they show that cows frequently eat after milking. Okay, they get milked, they come here and eat. Then feed delivery, they come and eat again. Milking, they eat again. And then they have a nice eating time here, of course, there's another milking, but they have a nice eating time here at night before they go rest, and they don't eat overnight because they're just resting, laying, chewing their cud, sleeping, okay? So let's make some, let's think about this, and this is just purely philosophical. I don't have the math on this, okay? Cows average 78 pounds of milk. Producer is asking for 82, 4 more pounds of milk. Cows eat, chew cud, rest 8 hours each, 12 hours for eating and chewing cud, right? Let's say very optimistically that 1/3 of these cows would like to eat and there's no feed. Only 1/3, not all of them, but there's no feed at that time. They missed a meal, 1 meal out of 5 meals, okay? They compensate later, but there's rumen fill. We know that there's just so much lignin that they can eat in that rumen. They can put in that rumen, right? Cow eats 55 pounds of dry matter, misses 10 pounds, compensates to 5 pounds. So let's say he should just miss 5 pounds of dry matter intake because there was no feed for 6 hours that day. I'm being very optimistic, very nice to this, right? 5 pounds of feed at 1.5 feed efficiency, which is not even a good feed efficiency, 7.5 pounds of milk. 7.5 pounds of milk times the amount of cows, times the amount of days, times the price of milk. That is almost $700,000 of lost revenue that they did not see, they could have seen in their pocket, just because cows were not fed for that 6 hours, and we saw that constantly. Every day after day, 6 hours, that bunk was clean, okay? So that's what I mean. That one feed there is just gone that day, okay? You can make a better diet, one that costs more, it's more concentrated, make your company more money. Who cares, right? But is the farm actually going to be profitable and sustainable? Probably not. Okay, then I get to the dairy comp or PC Dart. Use that as a helper. This is a tool we have at Purina where we just dump the data in and they spit the data out for us. It's very nice. And I see that they have 40% of their cows with metritis, 40% of their cows with mastitis. That is just proving to me what's going on about lack of feed. Cows are not having access to feed, and they are laying down and getting infected in their uterus or in their udder, right? So this is just proving to me more and more that things are happening there. So as the conclusion, first thing we told these farms, which we're still working on it, is decrease stocking density. Let's take that stocking density down. Your bulk tank probably won't change, but your feed bill will decrease. Wow, I hope my boss doesn't hear that, right? That I'm telling them their feed bill is gonna decrease. No, that's the point. Make the farmer profitable. That's how we survive as well, okay? Cold chronic cows, cold tree teats, bad legs. So I pretty much go through this barn, walk around and look at some cows and say, this is gonna be a cull, that's gonna be a cull, that's gonna be a cull, because they just don't look good. They're just filling space that they don't need to, okay? So if we start milking 3 times a day, are we gonna see a somatic cell reduction? Probably. Try to convince them to go from a 2 times to a 3 times and find the people and all that. Not even going there. Clean and bad stalls at least once a day. That's a recommendation we gave, and they're doing it, and somatic cell already reduced by half. So from 400 to 200 just by doing this clean and bad, okay? Make sure cows have feed through the entire bunk. So they're actually making sure there's feed there before feed delivery every day, and they're pushing up feed when cows go to the parlor. So the guy that pushes cows to the parlor, he pushes the cows, cleans up, grabs the tractor, pushes the feed, brings the tractor back, and the cows are coming back. That's a very simple change that they made. That same guy that does the cleaning stalls, he does the push up the feed, and that's working so far at this farm, okay? So is the return of 4 pounds of milk possible? Yes, we're already seeing those. We're at 3 pounds now, 81 pounds. So it's possible, right? Farm 2, robot farm. I don't know if I can play this video. Maybe, there you go. So this is a robot farm I work with by myself, actually. Pretty nice farm, super nice people. I really like working with them. And it's the perfect farm. Okay, I take people there, perfect. That's what I mean. I take people there and I tell them, tell me what's wrong. And they're always like, oh, I can't find anything to fix here. What's wrong? Like, what is wrong here? Cows have feed in front of them all the time. Cows are visiting the robots. See, there are 2 robots down there. There's a robotic pusher upper that comes and pushes up. Look, 7:30 out of feed, 7:42 feed. 12 minutes without feed. Come on. It's beautiful. And look at the cows. They're just eating, loving it. A lot of cows in the robot. You're not stealing any time from the robot because they just want to eat instead. So they're coming in and out. Very nice farm. The perfect farm. I take people here and they just freak out when I'm like, I need a report from you with recommendations for this farm. They're like, I don't know what to say. Is every farm perfect? Well, this is a robot farm then. Average 90 pounds of milk per cow, 4.2 fat, 3.2 protein, 60,000 somatic cell count, family farm. 2 Lely robots, free flow, 125 cows on average on those robots, 5,400 pounds per robot, 10 refusals, 2.8 milkings per cow per day, 8% free time. Ooh, that's low. That's very low. Actually, I was looking at it yesterday, it was 6%. And cows were making 94 pounds per day. Okay, 15 pounds per 100 pounds of milk for pellet intake. And I mean, it's just like this, constant. They feed twice a day, beautiful feed, BMR, low lignin alfalfa. It's just, it works, right? So, no more than 20 minutes between cleanup and feeding. I tell people what's wrong with this farm, okay? So, observe, after 6 p.m., cows want to get milk. They get lined up. Robot always have a line. Feed is always in the bunk and well pushed up. No overstocking. Shy cows can eat whenever they want. Look at that line. There's a line of cows going to that robot. They're like, we want to get milked. Pretty good, right? What else? What else do we have? Cows like to eat closer to the robots, and water closer to the robots need to be full and clean. So the cows are always down here eating at this area close to the robots. So we always make sure there's feed here, and we always make sure the water here is full. So how can we improve? Look at the data in the computer. We have little free time. Yeah, they have 125 cows per row. They have 125 total cows. So as we start seeing more cows per milking box, we start to have our fetch list up. So their problem now is they have a lot of fetching cows. They have to bring cows just because cows don't find the time to go there and get milk by themselves, right? So one day I showed up in Surprise too. I didn't have the cameras, and they can see my cameras right there, right? I didn't have the cameras, and look what I found. Half the barn did not have feed there. So we had a conversation about how you have to make feed available, right? What else do I look in the computer, and how do I work through this? Well, rumination over time. There's no causation. I have never seen a causation between rumination and milk production, and I would love to see a study on that. Gail, maybe you, right? I'd love to see a study of causation there, but the correlation is very strong. Every robot farm I see, rumination is up, milk is up, rumination is down, milk is down. Causation? I have no idea how to look into that, but correlation is, I feel like it's there, and I see that a lot, okay? Rumen health, early milk success. So this is my, this line here is my 1 ratio of fat to protein, okay? And if I see this line shift down, which I've seen some cows here shifting down, I know there's some acidosis going on. So I'm looking into that too and trying to correlate that and say, okay, are there some cows I have to pay attention here? They're having too much grain, right? Cow lactations, I'm not gonna go through this. I'm gonna skip this because of time, okay? Cow performance, this is what they're doing right now. You can take a quick look at what they're doing, but they're holding at around that 90 pounds of milk. Really nice tank. Refusals are a little low, but under 1. You want to refusal in the robot at least 1, and that's good enough, right? So, talking about Farm 3 before we finished our time here, almost there, but Farm 3, I'm currently prospecting this farm, and I get there and it's perfect. 100 pounds of milk, nice solids, no RPs or DAs, everything is just running smoothly. And you know, it's hard to prospect, right? Some people here that are graduating and going to the field, I'll tell you, it's really hard to prospect, but you have to get your mindset into it, okay? 1,000 cows, 100 pounds of milk, nice components, farmer's super happy. I don't even know why they gave me the time of the day to go there, okay? Where do I go? Well, can I have your dairy comp? Sure, have at it. Dig into it and give me a report. Sounds good. So I look at the dairy comp and I see, what do I see as percentage of first fat test above 5.5%? These are hostings. So 9% of the herd has a first fat test of above 5.5%. And I'm like, huh, have you heard of ketosis? Okay. And again, ketosis is not a problem, it's a diagnostic tool. You fix the problem to fix the ketosis, right? I do agree with Lance on that part. So there's a strong correlation between milk solids and probability of ketosis. Okay? Study from 1997. Using fat and protein as a diagnosis tool, not recommended, but using it as an indicator, yes, that's what they concluded with this paper. So they showed that the probability of ketosis if fat is above 4.1%, protein below 3.1%, a 10% probability of ketosis, you would see 24% of cows like that. But a 30% probability of ketosis, half of your cows would be with that fat above 4.1%. Wow. Okay. So is that a problem? Yes. So let's dig deeper. What's going on here? This is kind of small, but basically what I saw here is that cows are open for too long. A lot of cows eligible to be bred and are not bred. 17% of cows, 17% of cows are not bred by 180 days in milk. Wow. Okay. 43% conception rate. What did I see when I walked this farm next? Fat cows all over the place. And the fat cows are going to tell me there's ketosis going on when they calve. And it's not because of the poor cows, right? They're just mobilizing their tissue to make more milk. They make a lot of milk, 100 pounds of milk. But is there an adjustment that the nutritionist can make and work together with your reproduction person to make those adjustments and try to decrease the amount of cows that are eligible to be bred by 180 days and they're still open? Yes, there's a lot of opportunity there, and there's something you have to dig deep into and work with the repro company and your reproduction team on that, right? Okay. There you go. So fat cows, does this match our ketosis hypothesis? For sure. How much money is just being lost on repro issues here, having open cows 180 days in milk? I can't even imagine. I don't even know how to do that math, honestly. So summary, you use tools to help your team, right? I use cameras with the farmer's permission, of course. Don't just slap a camera there without talking to them, okay? I use dairy comp and PC Dart. There's a lot of work there. Use this data to dig deeper. And of course, the main thing here is that you don't just want to get there and tell the farmer you have more of this or you have more of that. No, you need numbers. You need percentages. You need to show them the money they're losing on the situation, okay? Robots. I love robot farms, okay? They're smaller. They're harder to work with because they're smaller. And of course, every company, or if you're an independent, you want to push harder for more milk, more cows, right? They're smaller, but they have so much information. We don't even know what to do with that information. We just get lost on that information. But that information is there to help you, okay? So you think now that 1 + 1 = 3 or 21, when instead of being alone as a nutritionist or as just a veterinarian or whoever you are being alone, now you're working as a team. And instead of fighting each other or seeing that as fighting each other, now you're fighting feed quality, dystocia, mastitis, metritis. Now you're fighting the problems instead of each other. So that's the idea. Use data, use your team, and work together with them to be better, make your farm more sustainable. So that's all I had, and open for discussion and questions.